And we are live. Yes, I usually wait to see like people coming in.
Yeah.
And
there's always a delay too.
There's
always a delay.
Especially on the computer, because when I was on Blake's chat yesterday, it was going really quick on the iPad, but on the computer. And I would say, Blake, look, your mom commented, and it had already passed us, and you can't see it on the side. So it is definitely a delay where people are probably on there now, and we can't see them.
Probably.
Yeah. So it's two people. As you guys enter the chat, just say hello, raise your hand. There's Tasha. Tasha. Hey, friend.
Yay.
I hope you and your sister are doing well. Is Marco in the room with you there?
They're both in here.
Oh, what's the other one's name?
Sophia. She's right. She's back here.
Marco and Sophia.
Behind the blinds, and Marco's. I'm sure they'll pop in. They always.
I see Marco.
Did you see him in my latest video where he like leaps onto the bed, and I'm like, oh.
That makes for great video.
I was thinking that tonight. I was like, it's perfect that they do that because it adds like such a comedic relief within the video. And the animals just kind of walk in, and I'm like, all right, because I don't know what they're gonna do. They have a mind of their own.
I keep saying I'm gonna have to get me a little kid somewhere or an animal because they take over everything.
They do. I could just follow them around all day, and everyone would love it.
Oh my gosh! So hello, Wendy. Michelle, hello, friend, hello, as everybody's joining us. I'm here with my good friend Daniela. I'm Blush Bottega. Seek Joy, hello. I'm so glad everyone can join us. Yes, just say hello, and don't forget to hit the thumbs up. I'm sure Lizette will be here soon to police everyone.
Hit the thumbs up.
She's my moderator too, so she's like, listen, do it. So Daniela, for people who may not know who you are,
I mean, not a lot of people know who I am.
Just do an intro, sweetie. You got 200 subscribers already.
210, I think. Hold on, let's do a quick little check, shall we? I think it's 210.
That is like seriously this year. Yeah, she popped in. That's amazing.
207. All right, I was
207 subscribers. Like there are people, you know how long it takes for people to get to that point. I mean, I know you're not looking for that, but that's just.
I mean, if I get monetized, that's cool.
That people that let's get monetized. I want to get monetized too. It may not be a lot, but that once you do, it speeds everything.
Right.
There's New England Betty Boop. We were just saying that you're going to be here eventually. Hey, Lizette, what's going on? So, Daniela, just introduce yourself, like you know who you are.
I do like to talk, so I might as well. Hi, everyone. I'm Daniela. I am a part-time reseller on Poshmark, eBay, and a little bit of Mercari now. I've been dabbling into Mercari. Yeah, not a lot, but I'm testing the waters because I think Mercari is kind of like an up-and-coming thing, right? There's a lot of advertisement going on, so I kind of want to get in and understand it before it really starts to take off, I guess. So I work a full-time job. I work for the state, and I've been reselling part-time as a business since March of last year. I think it was March of last year. So 2019. But before that, I've been reselling since I was 16 years old. Just never knew that that's it was just me selling things for money, basically. So yeah, I met Leslie last year. So when the rest is kind of history from there, we kind of connected.
A year.
I mean, it's been like a year and a half now. That's kind of crazy. And yeah, I have a YouTube channel. I have a podcast. So Thrifters Villa is a podcast with Lori Tata. And that's a lot of fun. So we talk about reseller stuff, entrepreneurship, life, just like a little bit of everything. We bring some guests on where Lori and I interview and we talk about them, or I have a segment on Lori's off weeks where it's called Coffee Talk. And I bring someone in, and sometimes we talk about things that are going on in the community, people that might have apps or different programs, people that might be entrepreneurs in general, and have military wives on, just a whole different slew of people with different perspectives. Some are part-timers, some are people we've never heard of, some are people you have heard of. So I just like to introduce different people to the community. And then I have a YouTube channel now, so that's been fun. Yeah, that's me.
So we're going to take a bet. We're going to kind of go back a little bit because Daniela, first of all, look at that face. How could you not love that face? And, you know.
So before we even say that, so funny. I was talking to Daniela before we came on and I sent her a picture of my new haircut and she goes, we could literally be twins. I'm like, we could. It's because we're Italian. So we
well, I said the same thing to her last night. I'm like, look at that face. So when we were still backstage, I'm like, there she is. Look at that face. But
and there's Denali right now.
Denali, El Ducho. But I love, seriously, this community. But like Daniela, I don't know. It was meant for us to be friends. I don't know. She just like reached out to me and we just
I have no shame. Let's just start with that. I will reach out to anyone. I will talk to anyone.
She said she has no shame. One, she's not shy. Okay, friends, she's not shy. She's
as an adult, I'm not shy.
She's not lazy. She's continually. If I could bottle her energy, she and I could go into business together. She just in a bottle, and then we released it into the air, and people who needed energy just jumped into it. Like, seriously, because some days I'm just like, whoa, but she's going. But I'm pretty sure she has her days when she's not feeling well or whatever.
Where I just lay in bed and don't move.
Yeah. So, I mean, because it eventually catches up to you. And then as you get older, you might have some type of, challenges or whatever that happen. But like, she is such a ray of sunshine. I used to have a Facebook group and she joined and we would do Zoom chats and things. But like, again, she just randomly reached out to me. And it started from there. I tell people, I answer my DMs, I do it. I get more than I used to, but I break it up in the day and I try to at least respond to everyone if I can. And especially for people who are having some challenges or in need. So if you ever thought that you could not reach out to me, you can. I'm the same person all the time. But Daniela, as her journey progressed, because she was already reselling. So she didn't, like she said, she didn't know that. But then as she really started getting serious about it, I could see her changing. And then she was on my podcast. Then she interviewed me. And that's when I knew she interviewed me on my podcast. She literally, Denali, flipped the script on me. You get it? And so I said, Daniela, you need to have a podcast. At the time, she's like, yeah, I don't know, So here we go. We get to Massachusetts, right? I meet these beautiful people in Massachusetts. Next thing you know, we're talking to Lori and she's having a podcast. But how did you tell everybody how you met Lori?
So I was on YouTube and I was looking as a beginner, right? You go to YouTube, you want all the information, you want to know all the things. And I was looking up, so I was planning a trip to go to the bins with my friend Jill, who is local to me. And I had never been, she's only been a couple times. And I said, well, let's look it up. Jack's on here. Hi.
Hey, Jack, darling.
I know. Anyway, so I searched, I don't know if I just searched New Hampshire bins or something like that. That's when we were going to. And I was just curious because I don't know, I've heard horror stories from all the other videos I watched. But I wanted to know what someone's local, like what the experience was of someone that was local. And I found Lori's channel and I loved the way she talked and she made me feel confident and everything, right? And I was like, I really like this. Oh, she's in Mass. I got all excited. So I instantly went to Instagram and I was like, I need to find her. I need to connect with her because I didn't really know anyone in the area besides my friend Jill. I didn't know anyone that was reselling. So then I connected with Lori and then we just kind of kept talking back and forth. And then you were coming and I told you that you needed to invite her because I thought you two would have really connected well, and you did. And then the idea of the podcast came up, and I kept toying around with the idea, but I didn't want to do it alone. Not because I can't do it alone, I could, but I liked the idea of having someone else there and having a dialogue and just bouncing different things off each other because our views are similar but very different all at the same time. So Lori was the first one that came to mind. I was like, we connect well. We're very similar. And I think people would enjoy us talking to each other because it sounds like two sisters basically talking to each other, just hanging out. And then that's just kind of how that happened. Now Lori and I are super close and yeah. I
love it. Yeah, they were like, Leslie, we want to tell you something. We're starting a podcast together.
We waited. I was not here to tell you. We waited.
Oh my gosh, I was super excited. So for people who don't know, I did take my podcast to Massachusetts and a group of people came out. Daniela, Lori, that's where I met Lizette and her husband Andrew for the first time, and so many other people, Crystal and Jen, and too many people to name. Casey was there, Changes of Season, and it was just such an amazing thing just to meet everybody face to face because Daniela and I were already getting close and we were already talking, but to meet her and see her in person, to meet Lori, for them to be on the podcast, but to also break bread with this group of people, you know.
It
and
was so fun. You know what made it fun is because we made it so casual, and it was such like a we just all kind of got together and talked and hung out. And it wasn't everything about reselling, like personal things.
Exactly.
It was.
That's what I want. And that's what I tried to make people understand. Like I because it's our community, yes, we have the resellers in the community, but every time we get together, it doesn't have to be about, okay, where are you sourcing? What we want to know everything. So around the table, we were around this big table and some people on the side, and it was just great conversation, you know. And like Daniela was saying, she didn't know anyone like that many people, but this was the opportunity. And it amazes you when you get in an environment like that, in a setting like that, and you're like, all these people have been here. You know?
What's interesting is that I had talked to Jen on Instagram a couple of times. So I had reached out to her. I was like, hey, you should come to this. And, you know, she was part of the group. And then when she came there, it was like we instantly connected. And it was like we gave each other a big hug. And like the rest is history. We talk every day now, you know. We're really close. So it was nice to meet certain people face to face that I had talked to online for, you know, a month or two or even more. So to have that interaction, because it's different when you are able to touch someone, right? Like the power of touch. It's just, you feel a connection with someone.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I love you too, Jack. Last week, Jack and Ryan and Nick, they sang happy birthday to me as they were live. I was like, this community is so wonderful. I love you guys so much. I do. Ryan sent me some poly mailers.
I saw that.
Oh my gosh, this is just, you guys are wonderful. But I just love Daniela. I love her energy. I love everything.
Let's just keep talking about me, shall we?
And you know what? I use her a lot because I know her personally, so I can use like examples of what she's doing. So often people talk about what they're going to do and what they're going to build, and you know, I'm at the point where, you know what? Stop talking to me. Just what if you're going to do it, because you don't have to prove anything to me, because I'm still working on me. And when Daniela says, "Oh, I'm going to do something," she goes and jumps right in, and she gets right into it too.
There's no playing around to do it.
Seriously involved. She has like some other stuff she's working on. So tell everyone why reselling, like not why you started. We all have like a story of why we started, but what keeps you going? Continue on.
Growing up, I always knew I wanted to own a business. I always wanted so I used to tell my mom, like, I want to own a fancy little Italian boutique with clothes that come from Europe. Like, that's what I want to do. In reality, it would be very difficult to maintain that nowadays. Maybe the climate of that will change. Who knows? You know, we don't know what the future will bring. However, I always knew I wanted to do something in fashion and something in clothing. And I was in retail for 14 years. I worked at Walgreens for almost 15 years. And I was the head of the cosmetic department for a while. And I worked alongside the district members. And I helped set up different stores. And I was a part of creating different planograms for things. So like marketing and all that stuff was always a part of me. And I always enjoyed it. But then another aspect of me, I always enjoyed teaching and the helping profession, which is why I went the direction that I did with school. And sometimes I think about it, like, did I make the right choice? But I think I did. And I feel like in reselling, I can, not with technology especially, I can teach people, I can help people, I can talk to people, I can do my marketing and retail work like I did before. I'm my own boss, even part-time. So I'm it's like everything I've ever done encompassed into one. And I feel like there's so much room to grow because reselling is just starting to really take off. I mean, when you think about it, it's always been around, but it's insane right now. It's everywhere. Everywhere you turn, someone's flipping something, right? It's on TV. It's everywhere. Oh my goodness. So I think I got in at the right time, and I feel like I'm growing at the right time. And I don't foresee myself ever not reselling. And I kind of talked about this in my latest YouTube video, which we can talk about later. But I don't know to what capacity I'll continue. I know it'll always be a part of me. But I also foresee myself going more in like that teaching, helping route. Which is where those Instagram posts have started to come out that I've created, where I make little infographics and stuff and little quick tips, and people really respond well to those and they save them. So that gives me some reassurance that, like, okay, this is where I belong, you know?
Yeah, that's definitely where it starts. It's like you put a little bit out there and you see like how receptive everyone, and you originally do it for yourself.
Yes.
Because you're putting out information that you've learned. And that's why I started what I'm doing. Like I have my podcast because I'm putting out information that I wasn't hearing or seeing. And the same for you. And I'm pretty sure Denali and whoever else has a podcast or any type of content that they're putting out on social media, whether it be YouTube or Instagram or wherever they're posting videos or anything, is that you want to get information out that's inside of you that you can share with people. But then when you see that people are receptive, that's when you keep it coming. Mm-hmm. You keep it coming either by likes or comments or whatever. So I've seen the growth in you. It's like amazing to me. You knew it was there, but I didn't know you well enough. But I kind of knew something.
I worked in a marketing firm too, so a lot of stuff that I do is just stuff that I always did in my job. So to me, it's nothing amazing. I'm like, this is like beginner entry level stuff, but to people in the reselling community, they've never really seen it.
Exactly.
So when I do certain things, they're like, how do you do that? And I'm like,
exactly.
It's super easy. It's a template. I can show you in 2 seconds how to create one.
Yeah. Well, that's how I feel about the things that I'm doing. Like, for a lot of people, because of everything that we're going through, we have to figure out different ways to make money. So not to take away from the community, but when I start talking about Etsy or whatever, like for me, that's where I started,
Yeah,
so
I used to sell on Etsy when I was
like for 8 years, and I know the platform is actually better now. It has quirks like any other platform, but I know it so well. Yeah. So when I say, oh wow, I'm making sales, or when I give advice or whatever, it's not new. So some people will just join my community and go, oh my gosh, and I'm like, man, that's why I made, like in July, I don't mind sharing. I made $1,500 in July. Like I went from my vintage, I separated the 2 platforms, and I probably made a little bit more. No, I made $300 on my vintage platform because I separated it and made a whole handmade. And people were like, wow. And to me, I'm like, yeah, I already knew that though. It's the other platforms that you have to kind of like figure out what's going on. You think you have Poshmark and then this will change. You think you have Mercari and this will change. You think you have eBay. So it's like those things that you're just getting into. I feel the same way, that I'm bringing what I kind of knew to the table and trying to help the community. If you want to grow, then, come follow me, come follow Daniela. Daniela's information is right there. If you just go to Ivy and Blush Bottega, it'll take you, you will see Thrifters Villa. She is the host of Thrifters Villa, and her YouTube channel, when I type in Chronicles of a Reseller, that's what comes up, but it is under her name. So either way, you'll be able to find it with no problem. And it's a really great channel. I have to watch her latest one because we're going to talk about that in a few minutes.
Yeah, put the word controversy in a title and look at the views. It's crazy.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a few minutes because we'll lead into that, because this community is, it can be a little tricky. Like I'm not in the community to be a part of any type of drama. I just love, like, because I'm meeting people like Daniela, and even people I see in the comments. I see Nikki and Jack and Lizette and Michelle and all the people who are there. That's why I show up every day. Just because I want to talk to people in the community. The drama stuff, there's some stuff that happened, and Daniela was saying some stuff happened, and I was like, oh really? I missed all of it. And she was like, let me call you, because I have no idea. So we'll talk about that in a few minutes. So what are you currently working on in your business?
Well, I'm trying to plan out my content for YouTube right now, because I'm kind of, not that I'm going in a different direction, but I have some ideas and some different like learning tools that I want to put out there. And I might incorporate some videos that are non-reseller related. And it may not cater to everyone who watches me, but it's fine. I don't care, it'll cater to someone. So there's that. I'm focusing heavily on sourcing right now, but I'm going to explain why. I may be spending a little bit more money because of where I am sourcing. I may not be going to thrift stores as often because they're not worth it for me right now. The prices are too high and the stuff that's out there isn't great. So it's a waste of my time. I'm not making money while I'm doing it. I'm wasting 2 hours of my day. I already work a full-time job. So then when I'm going to a thrift store, time is money to me. So I'm doing some different things with sourcing. I'm accumulating a lot of inventory because of the economic climate that we're in. We're not really sure what's going to happen in the fall, winter. I want to be prepared because, as we've already heard, Black Friday is basically canceled this year, right? Yeah. There's going to be different things going on online, but stores are shutting down. So that's different. That has never happened.
Nope.
So I'm thinking ahead to November, December, January, February right now, and what I need to do in my business to be ready for the surplus of people that are going to be online.
Yeah.
Because our economic state right now is kind of all over the place, and we don't know what kind of stimulus we're really going to get. We have an idea, but there's a lot of things that are unknown. And being where I work, I kind of see a lot of the back end of legislation and stuff. So I feel like I have a good understanding of economics and stock markets, and I kind of just watch the trends and what's happening, and that's how I gauge my business. Doesn't mean you have to do it that way. That's just how I do it, because that's how my brain works.
Yeah, Thomas and I were talking about that. I've been doing the same thing. I have 3 boxes of inventory coming to me.
So I feel like I'm spending a ton of money, but at the same time, I'm just spending it now.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly that's exactly what I said to him, because he's like, what do you got coming in? Exactly. Well, he does the same thing. So I mean, I learned a lot of what I'm doing from him. We just sell different things, right? So I'm doing the same thing. I'm really like focusing on what I know is selling, look at the patterns and everything, and what I know is coming. Thomas and I just had this conversation last night. So I said, okay, tomorrow, just look the other way when my boxes are delivered. It's my money. It's like, I don't take any money from the household. Everything I make goes back into my business. So, but it's like, but you have to be prepared for anything. But then also you have to take chances and change some things in your business. So as you're growing, what have you been changing from, let's talk since last year, what has changed in your business? I think maybe some dramatic things, right?
Yeah, so the number one thing that's changed is I'm online sourcing a lot more. I never did that before. I'm paying up for things, which is really hard to do. Okay, I want to just put this out here. It is not easy to transition from thrift store prices to not thrift store prices.
Yeah.
Like, it is extremely difficult to make that transition in your head. Paying it is, whatever, right? If you're swiping your card, you're not thinking about that way, but when you sit there and process it all, it's crazy. I mean, like, certain people that are in here are doing pallets and stuff. Like, I can't even fathom that amount of money.
I know. Yeah.
But it works.
Yes.
So I'm kind of testing the waters for that. I've been doing a lot of retail arbitrage. A lot of prices around here are just crazy good right now in the retail stores, because they're just pumping inventory out. They need to get it out before Christmas time, because they can't order anything until their warehouses are empty, basically. So I've been doing a lot of that. The online sourcing thing has been fun. It's almost like a game to me. I make bundles. I wait. I see. I get perspective and everything. So that's been really fun. It's helped with my customer service too. And just kind of focusing on building the podcast in a we've been building along the way, but we've seen a big jump in the last couple of weeks. So just kind of like focusing on that and seeing what other little things I can do to boost that up. I don't know. That's kind of it. But sourcing is definitely the biggest thing that I've had to change. And just being okay with spending that extra money, because I'm actually making more now. I'm spending more, but I'm making more.
Yeah.
So
sometimes you have to do that. And I'm the same way. Like, I really had to, the word that I'm using, this probably people are using, is pivot. I had to really pivot in my business. And I started that like in May, like really going like, okay, I can't get out. What is it that I want to do? And then that's when I said, you know what, let me try doing some more handmade stuff. And I tell, our community is like really interesting, because it's kind of big, but then again, it's small. So like, you see what people think is a trend. To me, tie-dye is not a trend. I'm 51 years old. Tie-dye has been here and it's not going anywhere. And I just said, you know what, I want to try it. And then when I found that I could do it, I continued on. But also I said, you know what, I'm not going to just do it as a hobby. Let me see if I can make some money, right? Like anything that I do, I'm like, oh, I've perfected it. Let me see if I can make some money off of this. That's the way I look at every single thing. If people don't know me, if you haven't figured that out by now, you have to figure out how you can make some money. And that's another reason why I don't sell my items on platforms that are reselling platforms. I stick with the handmade, and then I also have another project coming on. How can I take on more? I know. But I have another project, and I'll announce that on Monday, because I want my business to be streamlined. But I also have to figure out a way where the money's coming in. And it's so funny that I've made more in the last 2 months, of course, handmade, than I've made on Poshmark and all the other platforms. That's only because I know it, but I love it too. And so, and that's both my Etsy stores. That's vintage and handmade. Like, I just sent out packages today. So you have to kind of really pay attention to your business and talk about that. Like you shouldn't just sell. You really need to look at your numbers,
Don't do
right?
that.
You need to look at your numbers, right? So right, that's really important.
Yeah. So when I first started, I didn't do this because I don't think anyone really does it when they first start, unless you're coming from like already owning a business and you know all the ins and outs, all that kind of stuff, right? So I just started reselling because, okay, I need to make some extra cash to save and pay things off, and then you start rolling, and then you realize, okay, I need systems put in place because this is so disorganized now. So I think it's super important to track, not necessarily all your numbers when you're first starting, but understanding what your cost of goods are, understanding what brands are selling for you, understand not even so much brands, what type of categories are selling for you, right? And focusing on that, understanding what your average sale price is, understanding what your time is valued at, because I don't think any reseller really puts in their time. It's hard to, because you enjoy doing it, and then you realize I've just spent 6 hours on this.
Exactly.
I just all the money that I would have made. I really lost everything. Like, I don't care how good of a sale that item was. You literally just lost all of your money because you end up getting paid less than minimum wage if everything isn't streamlined or automated. And people hate that word, but we'll talk about that later. So yeah, I use lots of different tools. I have Sarah Styles LLC dashboard. I use that. I have all the Uber dashboards. I've used them all interchangeably. I do use the Poshmark inventory and sales report that they do. I like to look at those numbers too. It gives me a breakdown of everything. And in case I've missed something in my inventory system that I have, I can kind of use that as a guide too and see. Now that they have the ability to put your cost of goods in and all that, like, it kind of changes the game of how you can use that reseller report, which is nice. So yeah, I mean, my personal inventory system, like the way I store things, is not efficient, but that's because I don't have the space for it. Once I have the space for it, it'll be a lot different for me. But right now, the limited space that I have, there's certain things I just can't control. But I can control my numbers and how much time I'm spending into things and how much I'm spending and taking in net. Forget your gross profit. What are you bringing in net?
Yeah.
That's what matters.
Yeah, and it's definitely, time is really important. Like when I first started, I was really, really regimented. And now I find myself, some days I do so much that by tomorrow I'll just take the day off, or I'll just do 2 things, whatever. When you get to a point, you kind of know your business and you know where you need to put the time in. So that's where I'm at. So when people come to me now talking about schedule, I really don't have one. And more so, I don't work outside of the home now. I don't have small children, so I really can do whatever I want to do. But I do make sure I put in, like, I'll create a list, right? So
that's what I do. I create lists.
That's the way that you do it. The list of the 5 important things of the day. If you can do 10 if you want, but that becomes too much stuff that you have to focus on. 5 is a good number. And if I get the top 3 done, always put the most important things at the top. And I look down and I say, okay, good. Now I can take a little bit of a breath, because I'll be that person who will literally be sitting at my computer all day long. So I take breaks now. And that's why I love to get up and do tie-dye or whatever and move around. And I've been making myself go to bed at 11 o'clock now. So it's just because I'll be up. It'll be 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, whoa. Yeah. So if you just have to really,
it's easy to be consumed with it, because that's the way the community's kind of been built.
Exactly.
We're all consumed by it. Which is why I've been taking breaks from social media, well, from reselling social media. Like, I've been going on my personal Instagram account, which I haven't done in a while, and doing all that kind of stuff, and maybe just sitting down and putting my phone away and then watching something on TV. And like, I don't care about what sales are coming in, no sales are coming, like, whatever. I need to step away from it because you get so consumed by it.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about that too, especially with everything you do. And it's like, just like I said, just like, I was posting 3-4 times a day. I'm down to probably like 3 today. I only posted once. But it becomes people's lives, and it shouldn't. It should be other things. And then also, you have to think about what you're focusing on. If things are bothering you, then you're focusing on the wrong thing. You're focusing on the wrong thing. Denali said, do something you love and make money from it. That's been my philosophy, like literally since I could, work. Crocheting, that was just a hobby that turned into a business. And I did that for 15 years, like a little piece of string and a needle, and you can sell some hats and stuff. And so handmade has always been my first love. And I'm like, I'm back at it, and I could do some things, have a lot of things coming up. But that makes, it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether it be handmade, whether it be any type of business, turn what you've learned in school into a business. Right now, is probably the perfect time to reinvent yourself than any time, especially people who may have lost their job, not sure about your job. Now you have to decide if you're home taking care of children, what you should do, because that's what happened to me. I left a job that I had been at for 12 years because I was about to have my 4th child. And I was like, yeah, daycare not getting my money. So I came home with my children. And so sometimes we have to make those decisions and make those sacrifices. But I wish that we had all the technology then. We're talking, my 4th child is 21. So we're talking 21 years ago. I wish I would have been really on track with a really good business, but then I created 2 businesses while being home. So that's what you do. You take what you have. So what do you think about what's going on?
We're just going to dive right into it, right? Get right in there because everyone else is talking about it, and I made a YouTube video about it, and I'm part of the problem. But it's fine.
Yeah, no, you're not part of the problem. You're not part of the problem. You're like talking about the problem in a way that it should be talked about. Like, I don't think anybody should ever call anybody out. That's just how I am. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, I'm a person, like, if you're buying pallets or something, or if you're ordering from Joe Mar, if you're ordering from ThreadUp, yes, you want to open up your box, because they're big companies. But if you get a reseller box, you cannot get your box and go in there and trash that person. Like, I don't do that. I ordered when I did my vintage videos, I tossed in all the stuff I got from resellers and from all the other resources and just did a vintage video. I never said, oh, I got this from so-and-so's store or whatever, because now you're messing with people's money. If you have an issue, talk to them privately about it. So that's the thing. Everybody gets excited about unboxing. To me, it just becomes ridiculous after a while because you just want to unbox and now you're talking bad about this company. ThreadUp can take it. Joe Mar can take it. They could care less, really. They're not even looking at you.
He can bring it to everyone. They really don't care.
They're not looking at you. But when you start calling out, ABC company on Poshmark is owned by, Sue. Come on now. Come on. We got to be adults. So there has been some things going on this weekend. I know nothing about it. Like, if Danielle had not talked to me about what's going on, I wouldn't have a clue. Because that's how
name drop, like that's not going to happen here. We're talking about the issues
because we want to talk about this is community. This is all community, and I think it's all a learning process as well. And Danielle and we both agree it's a lot of things because we'll be texting each other back to back, and she was telling me how she talks to Denali too, and like you're talking about things in the community, and that's what you're supposed to be able to do. Like if I can talk to Lizette, but I'm not going to throw everything out there. You shouldn't you shouldn't do that. So talk about some of the things that's going on and then segue into your video.
Is that Thomas?
No.
Oh, heard a noise.
That my phone it just buzzed right here. Yeah.
Oh, I heard a noise. I was like, who's that? So, I mean, if you follow social media, you clearly know there was a lot going on in the community in the past week, whatever. I don't even know now that it's been a week regarding automation, regarding bots, all that kind of stuff. And my perspective on it, and it's because I come from a very diverse professional life. I just do. And I'm not saying that bots are good. I'm not saying that, I'm neutral in all of this. What I am saying is that automation is something that can really help your business, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're using a bot or anything. Like automation is literally you creating a process to streamline your business. And Jen and I will talk about this in the podcast that just came out on Monday. It's how you're going to streamline your business. So if you have an email list, guess what? That's a form of automation. If you have a website and you're creating different streams to funnel customers in, that's automation. If you have an inventory process to put your stuff away, guess what? That's automation too. And I think it's important for people to understand that word automation, because the Poshmark community has made it seem like this big taboo. It's used heavily in all aspects of business, and it's not necessarily something that's technologically related.
Yeah.
So, Poshmark has their terms, and it is what it is. Sharing is their thing. That's what their platform is built on. Right. That's fine. That's how they're being built. Do I think it will change? Don't you worry, guys. So, do I ever think Poshmark will change? I think present day, no. I don't foresee them changing sharing. It's so heavily used on their platform, and I think there's reasons behind it that they would never share with us, right? Like whether it's involved with how their business models are created or whatever, like, we don't know. It could just be the way their app is created from the beginning, and for them to change all that, maybe it's not feasible for them to do right now. We don't know. Okay. But not every platform is like that. So if you don't like that aspect of that platform, then leave. Go somewhere else. No one's forcing you to stay. You can go wherever you want, and you can streamline your business in a different way that you just list, and that's it. You are done. And that's kind of the intrigue of going to different platforms. If you use List Perfectly and Vendu, I'm sorry, cat's making lots of noise. So if you're using List Perfectly or Vendu, that's technically a bot.
Yeah.
It's taking your item, uploading it to another platform, and pulling all the information from Poshmark. Like, that's technically a bot. So a lot of us use it.
Yeah.
And it's that, but it makes our life easier. Now, Poshmark does have the copy feature, which is very nice. And here's what I will say about Poshmark is that they're smart, and their marketing people are always watching to see what we're doing in the community. They're very community driven. Sure. So if we keep voicing different things and sharing our opinions in professional ways, because I think we need to be professional about it. I also think that we have to be kind about it and respect everyone's opinion, because everyone's opinion is different, which makes us all different types of business owners, right? I think eventually they're going to end up having something within their platform where sharing might be in groups, or maybe you can share all jeans at the same time, whatever it is. I mean, they already have offers. One day there might be bulk offers that you can send to everyone, like eBay. Like, I think they're a young business that's going to keep changing. I think it's important to voice your opinions regarding it, but I also think it's important to realize that we all have differences of opinion, and there's a time and a place to talk about them, and there's a polite and professional way to address the situation without calling people out.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Also, Poshmark, they're their own individual company. When they started, they wanted to be different, and that's the key to it. Yes, it probably is much bigger than they had ever imagined. Manish,
right? I don't think they anticipated
the founders, right? They all talk about it, especially if you go to a big event and when you get to hear them more like one-on-one. It's beyond whatever they thought it could be. So they're trying to keep up with the demand. But I agree with Daniela. I talk about it kindly as I can, because it's all about being respectful to people, because I can get like really mean. I don't like anyone talking about anything. Like, we'll take an example for like the Black Lives Matter. When they announced that they were going to donate some money, that really got some people upset. But you know what? You're selling on a platform. You don't even know who your CEO is. He's a man from India. Tracy, the CFO, is Asian. And so now that they've identified and saying they're going to put some money in a company, you're leaving and you're all upset. Buy is what I say. Buy. You don't need to be on a platform, because I'm never going to explain that I'm Black, because you can see that I am. But like, you're upset that they're donating money to a cause,
right?
When at least everyone in the tech department that I saw, especially at Posh Fest, they're brown skin. Okay. So if that bothers you, bye-bye. And then also, just like Daniela said, it's okay to voice your opinion. We're going to have differences of opinion. But the other thing is, are you making money or are you gossiping? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a business owner. That's how I see Poshmark. I love the fact that it's a community-based business, but we're renters on that space. They owe us nothing. If you want your own business, set up a website. That's it. That's the end of that.
I just want to point to Daniela's comment, and I agree with her 100%. I think this is part of the reason as to why sharing is such a big component of Poshmark. And I mean, it makes sense if you have a business background or a tech background.
Yes.
In order to get investment from your investors, for them to invest in your company, you need to show these types of metrics. So it would make sense, because they are such a new company out there. So
yeah, and they are, and it may seem to us that they're not, because literally 2011, that's not that good. That was the baby
company.
That was really, compared to like an eBay,
right?
That's a baby company, and I think they're doing a lot. They could do more, but again, they're trying to keep up with what's going on there. Currently hiring too. So
I wish they would address the sharing a little bit more. I feel like they just ignore it, right? Yeah. Like, instead of ignoring it, give us something to say that you hear what the community is saying, because I can guarantee you the majority of people that are on Poshmark don't want to share ever.
Yeah.
Unless you're brand new and you have 25 to 50 listings, then it doesn't bother you as much. But when you have lots of listings, it's very time consuming, right? Time is money, kind of goes into all that.
Yeah.
You have to streamline your functions. You know, I don't know what they'll do with it, but you know, it is what it is. Just
yeah. So we're all here business, and that's really what everything that Daniela said. Like, if you have an issue with automation, then give up your Vendu, give up your list perfectly.
Yeah, give up all those. If you don't like automation,
yes, everything that you're doing, give it all up. I mean, automation. We're on social media, so you're putting your information into systems and giving them permission. Everything that you do every single day. Now, the issue becomes some other stuff, though. It's like how you're running your business if you're providing a service to the community.
Correct. So if what is being put out there is true, then that's just bad business. It's a bad business practice. You need to be honest within your business. So, you know, that's that person can deal with their customers and that whole situation. They'll have to deal with whatever the repercussions are from that, because now it's become public knowledge. So platform could go after her, you know, so that's very possible. So you just have to be careful in the choices that you make, and you're consciously making these decisions, so you know what you're doing within your business. If Poshmark wanted to shut us all down if we all use bots, then they can.
They can.
I think
we're renting space. We're renting space. That's like renting an office, and then they go out bankrupt. You're out. You know, like that's what people don't understand. And I talk about that all the time. Poshmark owes you nothing. Once you go in and you give them all your information, you're making sales. They're a business. You know, that's why that 20% is coming right off the top. They're making money. But the thing, you get so upset, they owe you nothing. I go into it like that every single day. They owe me nothing because I'm taking a chance by being on their platform. Etsy, Mercari, eBay, Depop, all of these sites are the same. You know, you're coming to them because when you leave, 10,000 people could leave today, and 10,000 more people would just join.
If not 20,000 more people would go on. You know what I mean?
It's millions of people on the platform. You will not be missed. Believe me. Even if you were $100,000, $200,000 a year seller, you would not be missed.
And to play devil's advocate in that, do I think they would kick everyone off? No, because it would take so much manpower to do that. Like, it's almost impossible. That. They don't even have a customer service number. How are they going to sit there and start picking people up?
Tamsin is right. I mean, I agree with you, Tamsin, because you don't know what's going on. It's a business. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on in the marketing department, in the technical department, what's going on. So even if we put out things, like so many people get so upset with like the shipping, we do not know what they have worked out. You know, and how the structure of their business. We complain, but I guarantee you today, if they took that away, man,
oh my God, it would turn a war.
You can shove up to 5 pounds in one box, right?
I know.
Guarantee. As much as we complain, everybody will be flipping out if they said, "Okay, you know, we're changing our structure just like eBay."
Yeah, that won't go over very well.
How much you can shove into a flat rate padded envelope, y'all?
I know. I do want to mention one thing, just going off of how, you know, that a platform could go away the next day kind of thing. When you get money in your Poshmark account, when something deposits, withdraw it.
Withdraw it immediately. I don't care if it's $7.
Yeah, and I don't care if it's 18 times a day, whatever the maximum is. You withdraw it, because guess what? If they shut down tomorrow, your money is gone. You're not getting it.
Money. Yes, Denali just posted something. Showed all the platforms. Same thing. That's pay. What else was it, Denali? It was PayPal. It was Mercari. Your money goes in, get it out, because eBay, your money goes into PayPal or whatever, how that works, and get your money. Just like today, like I let some shoes go for whatever, and my payout was $7 today. Yes, redeem. I have no issue doing that at all. But community, come on now, let's just like
let's talk about cancel culture, because I think that's super important to talk about, because I feel like the reselling community was always very positive and upbeat and, you know, even 6 months ago. And then I think a lot of it has to do with the pandemic and people being right. There's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of anxiety that's going on right now. There's a lot of mental health issues going on. So I think a lot of it is all correlated. But we're adults. Now, there are young people that resell. Fine. Majority of people that we're interacting with are adults, right?
The babies are the good ones. The babies are the good ones. They're just trying to make a little money to save for college and do some stuff.
Right.
You know, whatever. But it's the adult.
It's the adults that are bad. I will never understand why it's okay on social media to call someone out by name and bring them down and throw them in the mud and make people start hating them. And I talk about this in my video. Do I think this is the time and place to call people out because there's some type of injustice or the behavior is so bad and so negative it's going to severely impact someone? Yes, I do think there's a time and place for it in a particular manner. I don't think it's okay to just start ranting and raving on social media about this, that, the other, and then reposting screenshots of what this one said and that one said. Like, I grew up being bullied, so I know that side of it. It's not fun, okay? It affects you until you're an adult. I can honestly say in the last 2 or 3 years where I become more confident in myself and everything, and that just kind of comes, I feel like when you get into your 30s, you just kind of, it's a big switch. Your brain just switches.
Oh, I know.
Because in your 20s, you still feel really young.
Yeah, you definitely do.
You don't feel like an adult in your 20s, but then you hit 30, 31, 32, and now even in 33, I'm like, I'm a grown up. Like, there's just certain behaviors that just don't matter to me anymore that used to matter before. And in the last, I want to say 2 or 3 years is when I can actually talk about all my bullying experiences. I couldn't talk about that 3 or 4 years ago. I would just start crying just because of all the emotions that were, it's almost like PTSD, to be quite honest with you. Because when you're getting things thrown at you, you're being thrown off the bus, like all these different things are happening. People are coming by your house and taunting you, and you're just in your bed, hiding. You shut your cell phone off and change your number and like all these different things. Like, you name it, I went through it. So when I see this type of behavior, I'm not okay with it. I will never engage in it. And if anything, I'm going to reach out to the person, even if I don't agree with what they're saying, but the one that's being bashed and being hurt, I'm the person to reach out because I know what it feels like, whether they're right or wrong.
Right.
So I just don't know where this whole thing came. I think it's just a social media thing. I feel like social media is all about calling someone out.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's also about, it reveals, times like this reveal who people are. When there's challenges and problems, that's where, because people can say who they are. That's because they're hiding behind their screen or whatever. For me, for the most part, I can flip this around, show you my junkie space. I usually put my, it's not like a big deal. Because that's what's going on, but I'm running a business. I don't care, if I can keep my house clean, hey, whatever.
Right.
But it's like that. But it's so this is a great way for the bully who's actually a bully to come out, with everything that's going on, whether it be the pandemic, whether it be everything that's going on culturally. This is the time for people to reveal who they are. So as you're scrolling through, there are things that you see that, oh my gosh, I just can't imagine. Why can't you imagine? That person was already like that. So why are you so upset? Why does it bother you? Yeah, exactly. So I don't take things personally. Just like you said, you're in your 30s. I'm 51. I just don't give a darn. I really don't. I'm super nice until I'm not. I have to go. I was talking the other day.
I don't want anyone to ever see me not nice.
I have to go all the way there. On my culture chat the other day, I would say, you got to take me literally all the way there. If I go all the way there, man, it's a whole game changer for you. Because Philly, you talking about a girl who grew up in Philly, who just, it's just that thing. But I'm old enough and I understand, and I realize I watch people and I meet them where they are. I know who I want to socialize with on an everyday basis, or just the person I want to say, hey, how you doing? And I just keep it light like that. But I think a lot of times that things that we're experiencing in our home, things like you were saying, from you could even take that and reverse it, and the things from your past, you could be out there just venting and, things that you see. But this is not the time and the place, and then Denali just said it. That's one of my favorite things that I like to say, Denali. When people show you who they are, believe them. Believe them. Because after a while, you can't hide. And that's why people are like, oh my gosh, you're so authentic. You're so real. I'd rather be me 100% every single day, because then you don't have to figure out what lie you told.
Right.
Exactly. People, oh, you're whatever. Yes, I am. Yes. Yeah, I'm black. Yeah, I'm black. I'm bald. Yes, I'm bald. Yes, I'm 51. You're right. I'm 51 years old. I am married to Thomas and we have 10 children. What else you got for me?
Yeah, right.
So that you don't have to figure it out. And so, but there are so many people who are sad and have really, bad lives. This community for me, this is the thing that's funny for me, is that this is the reselling community. You know, this happens just to be a community that we socialize in. But beyond this community, no one knows you. No one cares about you. You are not the top dog. Who cares? So that's how I approach everything. We have our names where people identify us, you know, and like I'm not like being smart or anything. I'm just saying, like, I can walk into a room and oh my gosh, and I'm like, no, I'm just Leslie. I'm just Leslie. You know, that's how I want you to see me. It's like, so what who you see me online? I am the same person, and I want to know who you are. Don't tell me that you're Ivy and Blush Bottega. What is your first name, honey, so that we can have a conversation together. Right. You know, but because some people think they're bigger than they are. I've experienced that from like the podcast or different things. Yeah, we don't want to interview with you. Cool, I'm good. Yes. I'm fine. It's okay with me. That too. We don't know you.
That's fine.
Not a big deal. Not a big deal. Oh yeah, so they don't want. But then let Denali be on your podcast. Oh, wait a minute. I want to. Oh, remember 7 months ago? No, I'm good. Or you go to Posh Fest. Remember, I'm good. You know, so it's but that just goes to show you, people were like, you don't have enough numbers, so I don't want to be on there. Dude, my feelings were not hurt.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Bye.
That's why when I ask people to be on now, I just find people who have never, you know, because I think all voices are important. I really search for people who like, wow, they have an interesting story to tell or something like that, you know.
I'm just looking at the comments. Denali said earlier, we all have to be willing to make our own calculated risks. It's just smart business. Yes. So whatever you decide to do, you do it. It's a risk that you take. Every business takes a risk. So.
That's Andrew. He's Lizette's husband. He said, "You don't want to see that side." No, you don't.
Hope said, "I just don't know how they could prove one was using a bot. They can't."
Yeah.
But we're gonna leave that there.
Yeah. Sometimes things get revealed. You know, you can have people who work for you who eventually like to talk too much. Things eventually come out. The things that you try to keep hidden, you know, my father said that things don't stay in the dark long. They eventually have to see the light. So
the reason why Poshmark changed their scripts, right? That it makes certain things evident to them. Yes. But like, you know, it's whatever you want to do for your business. It doesn't matter.
Yep. Definitely. Thanks, Michelle.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I can't be anything but myself. So what you see is what you get.
She's such a sweetie.
That's because none of you have ever seen me upset. It takes a lot to get me mad, though. Like, I have a lot of patience.
Yeah, that's when her family and it's on.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, it's just I have a lot of understanding. I worked with special needs for a very long time. I had a classroom in preschool. I had a preschool classroom with 12 little kiddos in it. It was all mixed. I had a couple of model students. I had students that were paraplegics. So I taught the visually impaired. Bye. Enjoy your workout. So I just have a lot of patience.
Yeah. I raised 5. You have to be patient. It says, what does Tamsin say? It says, Leslie, you took a chance on me months ago, right before I quit my corporate job, and I was so excited. So honored to be on your podcast as a smaller seller with a small following. You've done some things since then, Tamsin. I was really impressed by you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. We never know what the future holds. And that's what I love. And I'm pretty sure Daniela loves that about the podcast. Tell me some of the things that you've learned during this process of being a podcast host.
So, I mean, we already touched upon it. There are people that won't be on your podcast, no matter what, and that's fine. And you learn to be okay with that because it's business, right? It's not a good business choice for them, and that's fine. I have also learned a lot about military wives and what sourcing is like for them and what the business model is like for them. I've had 2 individuals on. I had Brooke on and I had Brittany on. Both are military wives and 2 very different perspectives when it comes to reselling too. So that was really interesting just to kind of see that side of it. And also made me think, like, I've never traveled to thrift stores that are near a base, but that would make a lot of sense to go there because people dump everything before they leave if they're traveling overseas. So, you know, it's just interesting to hear that side of it and how they've had to pick up their businesses to move to different states and how that works and what they need to do with all that. And, you know, so that's been really interesting. I think it's been fun to see different sides of people that maybe you were nervous to have on the podcast and you weren't sure like how the conversation was going to go, and then you have full-blown conversations and you're good friends, you know? So that's really nice too. And I think to see the differences that we all have in just business in general, not even just reselling, but like even lifestyle differences and everything, and how we interpret different situations, because you think it's one way and then someone else mentions it a different way and you're like, oh,
yes.
It's also interesting to see what people enjoy. So like the audience tends to tell us that they love the long episodes, and it's like, you really like listening to us for an hour and a half? Okay. You know, but I get it because they're doing work and they're listening to us. It's different than video, right?
Exactly.
So they're listening to us, they're steaming, they're photographing, they're doing their thing, or they're driving to work or whatever it is. So it's nice to hear all the feedback and what people like to hear us do. And, you know, it's just nice.
So has it gone beyond what you envisioned it to be?
Yeah, I think it's interesting how it kind of took off, I guess, right? Like we didn't know how many people were going to actually listen to us. To like nobodies, right? In New England, that all followings. I think we each had like 1,000 followers at the time. Like, you know, now we're both at almost 5,000, which is crazy. But we only started the podcast December 31st.
I know, it's amazing.
So it hasn't been that long. And I think our total listens are at 36,000, and we only have 32 episodes or 33 episodes. So that's showing that it's growing, which is really nice. It's just, I don't know where it will go. You know, I don't know where it will turn or anything like that. I think it'll continue to take off only because podcasts are such a big thing and people enjoy. It's like an audiobook, right? And perspectives.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about podcasts. I feel exactly the same way you are. You know, it's a year and 3 months or something in, but you're just doing it. And I've taken a little bit of step back, but it's still like the numbers are still there. People are still listening, and I still get messages every day. But it's just a great feeling to know that in some way it's helping people. You know, just the information, and to speak on your podcast, especially since I've been a guest, but also because I know you and Lori personally. I wasn't nervous, but I still get nervous. I try to tell people when I'm interviewing on someone else's platform, I get nervous. Like talking to you, I'm not nervous because I know you personally too, right?
Yeah.
But even if I were to come on yours, I wouldn't be nervous. But if it's someone that you've never talked to, because you don't know what direction they're going to go in, you know, people who come on here, they're like, okay, so what are you going to talk about? I'm like, come on now, you know me. I'm going to pop anything out on you, and I prefer not to be scripted if possible. You want to have some things to guide, but you don't want to be like, oh, so what was this? How was that? You know, and you learn, because I used to be like very scripted, and now I just want to make sure we just have a good conversation, and people, it relaxes them. And talking to you and Lori are just like talking to two good friends.
Yeah,
you know, you already are.
I know. We get feedback from everyone. They're super nervous to come on if they've never been on a podcast or anything like that. And then they actually sit down and talk to us, and they're like, oh, because we try to talk to people, and I'm sure you do the same thing. You try to get people on, and you say like 6 o'clock, right? But then you end up talking for a half hour because you want them to kind of get a feel for how the conversation's going to go, like all of that kind of stuff. And then once you actually start recording, you're like, oh man, I wish I recorded all this stuff.
I just said that to Lizette a couple weeks ago when she and I were on, because it's so much stuff that we're talking about. And then I'm like, okay, well, I got to get like an intro, and we got to kind of go down. And then I'm like, wow, we just talked about that, but it doesn't make sense to bring it in. But it is. You just get comfortable. And I always let people, like, I tell them, I say, well, this part won't be recorded because I just want to kind of let us chat. Let's get to know each other.
Yeah.
And, oh my gosh, I was so nervous, you know.
Yeah. I know.
And I'm like, we're just audio because it's easier for me just to download it.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
I don't think so. That's why, you know, it's just, we're not even going to be like, I know when I talked to Nora, I said, Nora, it's just going to be audio. Oh, I said, Nora, that's for everyone, sweetie. It's not. She's in here. I saw her come on here. I'm like, it's for everyone. I'm not like picking on you or anything like that. It's just easier for me to download onto my app, and I don't have to, you know, I can edit it and all that without too much, you know. And then, so as you see, my episodes have been longer. I haven't been putting any of my ads or anything in there. I've just been letting it play so people can just like listen, you know. I haven't really worried about subscribers and stuff like that because I've just been doing other stuff, you know. But it's just like so good. I listen to like the people talking. I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna just let this go for the full hour, because like you said, you'll be cleaning or something, and there it goes. Because that little break, you're waiting, and then all of a sudden the commercial comes in. You're probably hear the commercial. And they're like, wait.
But this is why we have mid-roll ads. It makes you stay and hear the rest of the conversation. Put the ad in the beginning so that you're enticed, and then you put it in the middle, and then you stay to the end. That's how it works. I mean, that's why YouTube puts the ads in the middle too. It's done on purpose.
Oh my gosh. Does anybody have any questions for Daniela before we leave?
No.
Yes, you feel people connect. What's Michelle saying here? Yes, I feel people connect with you when you are your true self and talk from the heart. Definitely. I think it's better like that. Yes, let me just go through. So Cynthia says, yes, it's a great podcast. Lindsay and Daniela, fan of them. No, don't be a fan, just be a friend. This is Nikki. I love this is Villa while I'm working. Now, yeah, you're on now. Yes, perfect for you, Nikki, because you're walking your beat. That is awesome. Your beat, your route, like you're a police officer. That is perfect. See, jobs like that is so perfect. That's why we do these podcasts. What does it say here? It says, I'm the same with me. Learn to be very patient early on. Tess takes a lot from me just for me. Yes, very good. Love you too, Nora. See, there's Nora. It says, okay, here we go. Where do you both see your podcast going, Daniela?
Well, I definitely see it growing. I definitely see that. I see the growth in it. I don't know in terms like what direction the content will go in. I think as reselling evolves and climate change within economics and everything, there might be different components that come into it. And I think it depends on where Lori's business and my business go and how it grows. So I think that contributes a lot to the podcast. I think the podcast, so it's my vision, right? And Lori and I have talked about this. It's my vision for it to become a community and for our website to be a hub and for there to be like forums and more interactive type things, like maybe like because I'm a big podcaster, so there's a lot of podcasts I listen to, like true crime, all those different things.
Yes,
big true crime fan. They have memberships and stuff where it's anyway, they have memberships and you get like special access to different things and different documents and whatever. It depends on what it is. I mean, it's small membership. You're not talking like not $100. You're spending like $5.99 a month, $10.99 a month. Insider access. Like I can see it getting to that because I think Lori and I are so community driven too. And we'd be able to have access to people and people can have access to us and like, all that kind of stuff. I don't know when that would happen. Like that's just an idea, Yeah. That takes a lot of planning. That's not something you just do overnight. Like that's like months of planning content and everything. So I do see something like that happening in the future if it continues to grow the way that it is.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what's going to happen now. As for my podcast, I've been doing a lot lately, so I haven't been focusing on it as much, but I do want to, because I think I was off for like a month or so. I didn't do anything with it. So I just said, you know what, let me just start just doing conversations with friends, just kind of reaching out to people who I already know and like hearing their story. And I tell them like they happen to be resellers, but just tell me a little bit about your life and some things. And they reveal so much, like Wendy, everyone has me bawling like a baby, like by the time we're done. And I just want to keep that, and every now and then I'll probably just throw some content in. It's growing fine to me. Some people grow really fast. Mine, to be in the reseller community and not like way out in the world. I mean, I'm literally about to hit 100,000.
That's awesome.
So I'm super excited. It surprises me every day when you have like that and like 500 people listening to you every day. Like, hey, I'm good with just, I never intended it. I was just putting it out for me,
Right.
So I love the fact that people actually will send me messages because they've gotten something or I've said something to them just today, 2 people. And so that fills my heart a lot. And it's just
very gratifying.
Okay, Lizette has a question, Daniela.
This question I've been getting a lot lately. It would require many years of planning. Like that would be like a 3 to 5 year thing for me. I have a really good job. So it would be very difficult for me to leave where I am with the benefits that I have, the retirement plan that I have. I mean, I work for the state.
Yeah, we work for the state, yeah.
It's a difficult thing. Could I do? I mean, it would require some serious planning. There'd have to be a lot of investment going on. Things would have to like really take off to another level for me to consider that. Would I love it? Yeah, absolutely. Who doesn't love working from home, right? I mean, I've experienced it during the pandemic, being able to work from home on occasion. So yeah, it's great. I don't know. I think I just have to see how the next 3 years go, and then once I hit that point, kind of see what happens from there.
Lori's here.
Hi, Lori. We've talked about you about 10 or 20 times, but you haven't been here. So
we love you, Lori. We love you. Yes, we've stories to tell, and Daniela has been sharing so many wonderful things about your podcast and everything. But I agree. Like when I left a state job, but I wasn't vested.
It's hard.
Yeah, because I walked away. Like Thomas had medical, but I had the dental and the vision, and so that was a sacrifice. But I wasn't vested. I had only been at my job for 5 years, but my pension wasn't even kicking in until the 10th because they had switched something around. Yeah. So they're not getting me. But if I had been there, like a lot of my former coworkers who were like, okay, I only have 2 more years left, and waiting to see what's going to happen with them because they're just now going virtual. And these are lunch ladies. I was a supervising lunch lady. So if you don't have children to serve, what are they going to do? Yeah. So someone had a question here.
Yeah, there's a few questions coming in. Keep the questions. Okay. It's fun.
It went. There it is. There's Cynthia. It says, you can answer. What is that?
Okay, so this is where you're seeing the resale business is developing with all the situation, not knowing what is next, especially it seems big competition about great deals in stores. I don't think reselling is affected to a degree because people anticipate certain pricing. So yes, there comes a point where you kind of have to you need to be able to negotiate a little bit more of your pricing.
Yes.
It means you need to source smarter, right? Do I think everyone knows about the retail prices and how crazy they are right now? No, because no one's really going out. Unless you're really out there seeing all of it, you're not realizing the prices that are out there. I think reselling is just going to continually going up. So I wouldn't worry about any of that. I would just be cautious about the things you're picking up and the price points that you're paying for different items.
And to piggyback off of that, like one of the things that you're seeing, especially with all these retail stores closing, where do you think now the merchandise is going to be going to different warehouses? That's your opportunity to really think about pallets or whatever. We were talking about that. But again, you have to really do research. Unfortunately, a lot of people aren't going to give you their sources. You can probably talk to someone who sells pallets to maybe get information on about the best way to go about it. They may not reveal where they're getting their.
I'm just going to say, disclaimer, do not ask someone where they get their pallets.
So if the person does a video, for instance, and they do not reveal where they get their items from, they're not going to reveal and they're not going to tell you. So do not reach out. Do not comment on their comment. On their post about this palette that they just got, because they would put it in their friends. I got it from so-and-so, no, they're not, they want to keep that a secret. So
that's their source.
That's their source. Definitely. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like it's different that, ThreadUp or whatever, but if it's something, but you can ask them advice as to maybe where you should start, what a price point, because Denali talks about like her numbers, like it's $3,000 for a palette. But the other thing she talks about is you got to get that pallet shipped. That $3,000 doesn't include them to bring it to your house. So look for local liquidation places as you can. They're around. But the other part of this, because Daniela talks about just make sure you're getting quality items. So you really have to think about also, though, times are different. People are still going to continue to shop. People are never going to stop shopping.
Right.
And it's always going to be people who make. Some people make a lot of money and they just don't care where they spend their money. So you're going to get that customer, but you also have to remember the customer who now she's outgrown her clothes or she's ready for some new clothes. You cannot be like going back and forth. You got to really think about where your business is and take in consideration the times, because people will go other places. Like if I have a hard time, I'm going to go to Amazon and get 3 pairs of pants for $16, Right. So if you want to stay in business, you still have to be competitive. Times are tough. It's not like it was before. So, and then also think about what is selling. People are home. Athletic wear. I wear yoga pants all day long until I go to bed. I get up in the morning and I slip on some sweatpants or some yoga pants. So think about the people who are home, how they're dressing. There are people who are home with their kids now. Like think about that kind of stuff. Maybe switch what you're selling. So it's a lot of advantages that reselling has compared to like the resale store. And also Daniela already revealed that she's sourcing, like you were just saying, like the retail stores, right?
Yeah.
So
a lot of retail stores, are getting a lot of stuff from warehouses that are marked down. I mean, I'm talking like anywhere between $5 to $10 on items that you would normally pay $20, $30, $40 for or more. So you just need to get creative with it. And it, you know, if it's safe where you are and it's safe for you to go into a store and you're wearing a mask, I mean, you need to be very safe because we're in the middle of a pandemic, right? So if you feel safe, then, you know, go into a retail store and see what they're all about. If there's 20 people in a store, I don't even go in there. So there needs to be no one in there. It needs to be good. Like if people are not socially distancing, they're coming too close. Like I just go.
Yeah.
I don't mess around. I help take care of my grandmother, so like I can't mess around with that kind of stuff. The other thing I wanted to add to what you said, Leslie, was customer service. I think is going to be key because you're now competing with the Amazons, the eBays, and all that kind of stuff. And Amazon's time right now for shipping and delivering is a lot longer. So someone might come to you instead of going to Amazon, or they might go to eBay, right? Go to Poshmark or eBay. So you got to make sure your customer service is on point.
Yeah, it's because you know we get to this thing about like the denying and blocking and all this other kind of stuff. That stuff is not necessary.
Right.
Anyone who comes to your closet or your store or whatever, I feel honored that someone would have even considered my store out of all of the stores out there.
Right.
So like it would be different if, you know, you're charging, you know, $30 and somebody wants to give you $5, come back with the counter. You know, there's always a middle ground. Yeah.
Talk to them, message them.
Exactly.
Guess so what? 9 times out of 10, they come up.
Yes. And that's the thing is like, if you have a conversation with people, the first thing shouldn't be block. I don't block people unless somebody's cussing me out. I've had spammers who really just consistently. So that's the only time ever. My feelings don't get hurt if someone sends me an offer. One, if you price accordingly, you give yourself that wiggle room. I just talked about that in my thread up unboxing yesterday. Like I'm selling shoes, so of course I'm going to charge, like if you charge $45, that means you're giving yourself space to accept even down to 25. That's like a mind kind of thing. It's not for you, it's for your customer. So when they send you an offer, they're like, oh, let me see. And then you accept it. Oh my gosh, I got it. And in your head you already knew you were going to accept that 25. What happens is people forget that they wanted 25 when they have their price at 45. And then so they're like, I can't believe, you know, and that becomes a whole nother conversation and bashing and stuff. So you have to really just, you know, that customer service, take your personal feelings out of it. And if you say you just do this as a hobby, you don't, because if you're making revenue, it is not a hobby. The IRS wants their money. It's not a hobby. Now you may only do it on a part-time basis, but you're in business. So treat your customers with the same respect that you want on your end. It's as simple as that.
Someone just asked if my website has launched. Okay, let me tell you the backstory about my website. So I originally had this idea, and it's still going to happen, but the pandemic happened, and this is why my website has not launched yet. My website is, the groundwork of it is done. The concepts and everything are done. There's nothing actually in the website itself, which requires time that I don't really have thanks to COVID. So you kind of have to pick and choose. Do I focus on my energy on my reselling business and Poshmarking, sourcing and all that kind of stuff, or do I focus on my energy on the website? And right now it doesn't make sense for me to focus on my energy on the website. I'm not at that point right now. It would have been easier for me to do it pre-COVID. So right now it's not. However, my website concept, if you don't know, was basically items would go onto my website. There'd be other things on there too, blog posts and all that kind of stuff. But basically it would be choose your own price. So I still really want to do that. You know, there'd be 3 price points available. Each price point would donate a certain percentage of money to 3 different types of charities. So that will still happen. I need more time.
Yeah, there's going to be time, and that's the cool thing. You'll have time to figure out, especially like if we can just get through 2020.
Yeah,
you know, there's 2021 is going to be a whole different thing, and I just really want people to have
different world.
It really is. I mean, it's a different world now. And I feel like I'm walking through the twilight zone most of the time, you know, and like I can't even imagine because you're working the things that you experience. But I'm like Daniela, like I'm not even in a hurry to thrift or anything. But if I do go to the store, I'm like Daniela. If I get to the door and it's too many people in there, it's just not a place for me. Like tomorrow morning, I'm going to the Dollar Tree because that's where I get rubber bands and stuff for tie-dye and all that. And the perfect time to go is when they open up at like 8:00 in the morning. It's no one in the store. But if you go at Saturday at 2:00 in the afternoon,
no, thank you.
God bless you. Like You know what I'm saying? So you just really have to like choose your battles. Like it's not really that important for me. So I think it's safety. I have not even walked into a thrift store yet because I've been doing so much stuff online, and I'm really comfortable. Thomas actually went to the bins today, and he's really sweet. He brings me like stuff, and I'm like, that's wonderful, darling. But I'm good for now. So, but friends, we're going to wrap up. Anybody have any last minute questions? This is my good friend Daniela. Daniela, I'm so happy that I got you by yourself.
I guess I should start doing lives on my channel.
Yeah.
At some point in time. Don't rush.
You did one. You had Quimby on, didn't you?
I had Quimby, yeah. I had one so far. And Allie said she wants to do a live, so eventually I'll do one with her. And
I'll come 5 hours. I'll be on there, but like you have a lot
on and everything.
You gotta have you gotta have your co-host now. But yeah, you have a lot going on. It surprises me, and it's cool that you break everything out and you schedule. That's what you're supposed to do, friends. That's what you're supposed to do. Schedule.
There are times I don't get to half of my list, and now it frustrates me because it's just the type of person that I am. But it is what it is. Get over it.
So, friends, I want to thank you, everyone in the chat, for joining us. If you have not, hit the thumbs up and subscribe and set the reminder so that you will be aware of upcoming videos. I have a lot of content, and stop by Daniela. Chronicles of a Reseller. Say it again.
Be my friend. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on YouTube. Listen to the podcast and send me messages because I like friends.
So the podcast is Swifters Villa. For those who don't know that, Chronicles of a Reseller is her YouTube channel, and Ivy and Blush Bottega is her Instagram. Yes, Thomas says, how do you remember all that? I remember because it's Daniela. Some other people I'm like, I don't remember. But so Daniela, I love you, darling. Thank you for coming.
Leslie. Hi, everyone.
Am I getting